Fights, betrayal, and rivalry are just part of the package once you're a successful NASCAR driver, and Bubba Wallace sits at the center of it all. Recently, the African-American NASCAR driver got on the news for all the wrong things, and his career is in jeopardy. You'll never guess who's the first to throw stones at Bubba Wallace: his close friend Daniel Suarez. Daniel Suarez, the driver of the number 99 Trackhouse Chevrolet Camaro, was in an interview with Packers Fox Sports. He had a few things to say about Bubba Wallace's moves at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. In that interview, Packers asked Suarez what he thinks about retaliation, and Daniel said, "Honestly, it hasn't changed anything in the way I think or the way I do things because, in my opinion, all of those moves were extremely dumb on both of them. I would be extremely surprised if there were no penalties like before. Even in those situations, I would never do something like that." He added that he'd keep pressing hard and would never give up to win the Bubba. I know that is shocking coming from Daniel, but the part that shocked all of us was when he said that Bubba is not smart and expressed his joy at how NASCAR was able to put everyone in their places because it was too much. What really happened between these two amazing drivers? What triggered this comment from Suarez? The incident happened not quite long before Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson, and the consequences seemed to continue. The accident was weird, so NASCAR didn't let it slide, although Wallace has expressed his regrets for his behavior and apologized for his acts. It does not change the fact that he is a reckless driver who requires appropriate punishment. The owner of the 2311 racing team, Michael Jordan, did just that. However, co-owner Hamlin wasn't too pleased that Michael Jordan was chosen to sanction Bubba Wallace $1 million for his misdeeds. Bubba will lose a whopping $1 million because he purposely crashed into Kyle Larson. Even though this has not been made official, a reliable source claimed that Wallace's attack on Larson was unwarranted and uncalled for by numerous experts and reporters. As Kyle Petty requested, Wallace's ban should be carried out for a remainder of the year. Some even claimed it would serve as a better lesson for the 2311 racing driver than the one race ban he was awarded for the Miami Motor Speedway. Many people are surprised that his team gave Wallace such a severe punishment. The incident occurred amid the melee, and Wallace was still involved in this fight. Still, by crashing with Larson, he eliminated two driver prospects of competing in the Championship 4 in Vegas. Also, he nearly destroyed Christopher Bell's opportunity. Bubba Wallace earns over $2.2 million annually, making the $1 million fine almost half of his salary. Truly a huge sum of money. It is very clear that Michael Jordan did this with good intentions, and Bubba will learn his lessons the next time he decides to run into another car. Wallace, though, is incurring additional financial losses due to Kyle Larson. He was hit with a $1 million fine from his boss Michael Jordan just 3 years prior at the time of the major charge from Larson, and Bubba was forced to lose $50,000. This was a lot of money during the 2019 season at the Texas Speedway. Larson revealed that Bubba Wallace intentionally spun and raced the caution flag. Larson was one of the motorists who was immediately impacted by the warning. Wallace acknowledged the planned nature of his actions and the fact that they were unsuitable for the race. He stated in his post-race conference in 2019, "I learned from Keselowski and Logano, but I am not the only one to do it. It was truly fascinating and revealing. I am racing for myself instead of competing for Larson or Chevrolet." Having been found guilty of purposefully causing or attempting to initiate a caution period, Wallace was immediately punished by Section 10-8, and now he faces a punishment that could end his career. The severity of the penalty does not only affect his income, but he may also have to rethink his decision to continue competing in NASCAR. Wallace's $1 million punishment will be paid by his team rather than NASCAR, owing to the lack of penalties imposed by 2311 Racing makes this situation more intriguing. Hamlin highlighted Wallace's action at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Wallace's place in NASCAR isn't really there, as evident by last week's penalties. If he intends to continue with shenanigans like this one in Las Vegas, what worked against him was what he stated in his first interview following Las Vegas, when he argued that every action involving chipping other drivers should be punished equally. He said, "I learned my lessons, but we have to be consistent no matter if it's here at Martinsville or if it's at Daytona. I totally accepted the penalty and the repercussions that came from my actions. I talked to Steve O'Donnell and Phelps. I'm good with being the example if we can keep this consistent moving forward because it happened multiple times this year. It may continue to happen for other drivers down the road." The discussion was enjoyable, and it goes without stating that Wallace's aspirations were in vain. and that anticipating that everyone will be punished for genuinely racing the way they should race is just pure fantasy. People like Kyle Petty have been enraged with Bubba Wallace and how he's been acting lately. According to him, the punishment that Wallace received is truly a joke and should be handed a penalty that would affect him and make him think about circumstances like this again. Except for the fact that he may only levy financial penalties, rather than disqualifying drivers from races, it appears to be Michael Jordan in this story. Wallace ought to have been punished for the remainder of the season. His teammate's career was close to being over after an accident in this car, which is the only reason he is driving the number 45 car. It must also be safer, as the drivers have expressed. Wallace deliberately steered a driver in the right rear into the outside wall, which is ludicrous, and then exited the vehicle and crossed race course. First, he is purposefully hurting someone, working across the racetrack, and vehicles are passing him on both sides. Then he physically confronts the driver, shoves the official, refuses to get in an ambulance, then marches back to the pits and stands in broad face. Wallace revealed that he talked to Kyle Larson and learned from the Las Vegas race. He said, "I have got to consider before you step back, and seen from a 10,000-foot view absolutely could have handled everything better." He also discussed what he has learned from this experience. "I damaged my reputation. I misrepresented our team, and looking forward, I am not proud of it and must not repeat that moving forward." Wallace added that his team was understanding of the situation after he spoke with them. He discovered that he could relate to the urgency of the situation. He tried to stop them, but he insisted that we handle those 5 seconds quickly and then worry about it afterwards. The greatest thing was that they still backed me, and we were here. As I previously stated, you need to consider before you act. Now we just need to go out and keep this team growing. It is safe to conclude that Wallace's punishment will be extremely difficult for him in his NASCAR career, and there's a real possibility that Wallace's involvement in the sport, for all the right reasons, may end. NASCAR is currently mired in all sorts of feud. There's Kyle Busch's versus everybody, so Daniel and Bubba are just one. But this feud goes way back. In 2021, almost every time Daniel Suarez raced with Bubba, he gave him the middle finger. It became a norm, so fans and reporters thought there was some sort of bad blood between them. Despite the salty gestures shared between one another, Daniel said he was good friends with Bubba back in 2021. Recall that Bubba Wallace once said he only flips off people he likes. This was at the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series race at Pocono Raceway in 2019. But the argument did not turn violent. Suarez explained on Instagram that he did not like Wallace's gesture. He added that where he comes from, a move like that would start a fight, but in this case, the two were mature in their exchange. Why then did he say those mean things about someone he calls a friend? Just like several reporters, legends, and even Bubba's teammates, Daniel Suarez wasn't pleased with Wallace's moves on the track and made it clear that the actions were dumb and unprofessional. One thing is clear: every sport has rules and regulations, and anyone who breaks any rules will face the consequences. Wallace broke several rules and he should face the drama. However, whether the punishment is harsh or not is subjective. What do you think of Bubba's punishment? Do you believe that the 2311 racing driver deserves his harsh treatment? Or do you feel the punishment is extreme? What do you think about Daniel Suarez's remarks? Is he justified in calling Wallace's actions dumb?